everybody, welcome to the G-Funk Cafe. I want to take a little time and welcome you in. Glad you sit back, relax, cop a squat. It's your natural right. We're talking to the famous Mr. Billy Nunn, talking about a wonderful, wonderful musician. How are you doing today, Billy?
Oh man, like I said, I'm great. If I doing any better, I'd be indicted. You know.
Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Billy Nunn, you're about to get to know an amazing, amazing gentleman. So, with that being said, I guess we have to take you all the way back to the days of with you and your father.
Oh
Your
yeah.
father, Mr. William Nunn. He
Right.
owned what is it, Modo Records? What's it called?
Modo.
Modo Records.
Yeah, Modo. He said he wanted to start the company so he could make more dough. So he started.
I was trying to figure out what Modo
Modo.
meant.
Yeah, I'll make Modo. You know.
That makes plenty of sense. So how was it up? How was it growing up with all that good music coming through, man?
Oh, it was great because my father, he was a musician himself. I mean, he was a great vocalist and sax player.
Oh,
And what he had to do back then, it was too expensive and too difficult to get in the singers union. So he taught himself how to play sax, and that way it was cheaper to get in the musicians union. So if he booked the gigs, you know, he could
oh,
come in as a sax player and then sing, and wouldn't be no problems. But I was like introduced to like all kind of music from him, like '78s, listening to Nat King Cole before he started singing, Jazz at the Philharmonics. There's a '78 called Jazz at the Philharmonics with Nat King Cole and Les Paul on guitar. And I mean, a lot of
listen.
people don't know Nat King Cole is one of the greatest jazz pianists ever.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I paid attention a little bit there. And listening to you, I see you have a deep, deep jazz background.
Well, like I said, I was listening to that stuff on '78s, and then my mom, she was in the Columbia Record Club.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? Yeah. You
Yes,
spend
yes,
a dollar and you get about 100 albums.
yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was listening to Take Five back then, and Nancy Wilson, and I mean Miles,
Yes.
Soul Train, and then on the weekends, that's when we got into more of the R&B type thing. With
Okay.
my dad being a great singer, he used to love cats like Chuck Jackson, Billy
Okay. Okay.
Eckstein,
Yes, I remember
Arthur
Billy Eckstein.
Pricedock, you know, Gene Chandler. I mean, there was so much music. I was a big James Brown fanatic back then.
Who wasn't?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Who was it?
I
So
I used to
you're
mind the old Live at the Apollo album.
oh
You know,
gosh.
I had
That's
it
one of
down.
the best albums he ever had.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So yeah, I was,
indeed.
I listened to all kind of music. First 45 I ever bought was Ebb
Oh
Uh,
wow.
no, in fact, I'm sorry, it was Exodus by these
Oh,
two
okay.
piano players called Ferrani and Taisha. They were like
Uh-huh.
dueling pianos, but they complemented each other. And they had the instrumental. It was kind of a big hit because I mean I used to hear it on the radio, and I went downtown and bought it. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was Exodus by Ferrani and Taisha.
I'm
So
gonna have to look that up and check
yeah,
it
I'm
out.
going way back sometimes.
Well, coming closer into the future now, your brother Bobby,
Right.
Bobby Nunn, he was one of what, Bob and Jean,
Right, yeah. Gene lived
the
across
duet,
the
the
street.
duo.
Hmm?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Gene lived across the street, and they got a group together. They primarily started really getting into it when I went on the road with Johnny Lytle.
Okay.
So my brother was a big Five Stair Steps fan.
Yes. Yes.
Back in the day before the J5, and so he liked that harmony that Clarence Burke and them were doing, you know, in the Fire Stair Steps. The first stuff they put out, I mean, everybody probably remembers Ooh Ooh Child. You know, that's
Yes.
probably
Yes.
the biggest hit that you can still hear now, but they had Danger, She's a Stranger, and I mean, they had some great, uh, you know, slow grind 'em up songs back then.
Well,
Yeah.
who did most of the writing during that time? Or
Who,
did they
what
write
now?
both write? Did both of them write, or did one of
Yeah,
them write
they
more than the
kind
other?
of did the stuff together, yeah, and
Okay,
choreography. Cause my brother, you know, he plays keyboards too. I
gotcha.
mean, he's 4 years younger than me, and
Oh, I thought he was an older
oh
brother.
no, no, he's 4 years
Oh,
younger.
okay,
And
gotcha.
I think when I went on the road with Lytel, I was what was I, 17, 18, I think. I was underage when I think when we played Cali, you know, but I was always tall,
Yeah.
so you know,
Nobody asked you anything, huh?
yeah. No, I was the youngest one in the group, and you know, it was like he's cool, you know. But
And
yeah,
that had to be something being on the road with Lytel.
it was you know, like my school. That's where I learned. I grew up,
Uh-huh.
you know, on the road with him. My brother from Buffalo, Joselle Carter, who was the drummer, you know, came by the house and said he needed an organ player. They were playing in Rochester, so I said,
Okay.
hey, but that's basically, you know, where I learned how to play. Because when you play in standards and jazz, you know, you can't be bullshitting. You gotta, you gotta learn them chord changes
Yes,
and
you do.
be
Yes, you
able to
do.
solo
You
through
can't
them.
you
Yeah,
can't
so
fake
you know,
those.
I mean, the whole thing, you know, the gals, the drugs, you
Uh-huh.
know, it was like I said, growing up. I grew up.
I hear you. Well, you either grow up or get kicked out, one or the other.
Yeah. And my first, I did 2 albums with him, which was like my first time in a real recording studio and
Hmm.
working with like real musicians, you know, Reputation. First album, I mean, Ron Carter's playing bass,
Yes.
David Spinoza's on guitar, Ray Barretto was on percussion.
You was around some champs.
Yeah, I was what? I was 18 then, I think. Yeah. And
Man.
yeah,
Wow.
that album was, let me see, what was the name of it? That was Soulful Rebel, which you can get
You
it
must
off
have
the internet and all of that. Yeah.
you must have came in there wide eyed looking around going,
Oh
oh my
yeah, yeah. Yeah, first time, cause we started at Rochester was like about 60 miles or so from Buffalo, so I went up there, joined them, and after we finished that week, man, we were in New York at a club down in Harlem called the Gold Lounge. It was like
Okay.
125th and Lenox, and it was like one of the big jazz clubs there. I mean, Alvin Jones came and sat in like the second night we were there. You know, meeting cats like Wynton Kelly. You know, yeah, I mean, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah,
Yeah, that had to be amazing. That had to
yeah.
be true. So how did you get
Bobby
started
Hutch-
playing the keyboards?
Bobby Hutcherson, the violin player, came in. You know.
Uh-huh. Well, my question was, how did you get started playing the keyboards?
Well, like I said, with my mom being in the Columbia Record Club, she
Hmm.
had a good friend of hers named Edith Ingram, and she loaned my mom the Jimmy Smith album "Bashin'." I think it's probably his first album on Verve because he had done so many on Blue Note before. But it had the hit "The Walk on the Wild Side" on it, and
Okay.
I mean, I used to listen to all kind of stuff, yeah, and I put this album on, and Oliver Nelson had done the big band arrangements,
Yes.
and first song, that's when I got bit, you know.
Got the bug, huh?
Yeah, first song was like Slaughter on 10th Avenue, and Oliver Nelson had this big band arrangement. But then the second one was Walk on the Wild Side. You flipped it over, and there was like about 2 or 3 cuts with him with just the trio. you
Oh,
know.
cool.
So yeah, I don't know what happened, you know, but from then on, every time he came out with a new album, I got it. McDuff, all the organ players. But the blessing that I also had was the high school I went to, Hutch Tech. There was a guy who graduated a year ahead of me named Jimmy Davis, and he's still
Okay.
back in Buffalo. So during the summer vacation on Saturdays, I'd go by his house, and he knew how to play organ, you know. And he started showing me, you know, a couple of them licks I was hearing and didn't know what was going on, you know. So he was actually like my first like inspiration cat and opened the door to what was really happening on organ. You know, and then, like I said, I was buying everybody's records. You know, McGriff, John Patton, Don Patterson, Larry Young, Gene Ludwig. Every organ player was out. You know, I was buying this stuff, and my dad had a little old piano in the living room, and I'd sit there and just, you know, pick out notes, practice a couple of little things that Jimmy showed me, and uh, lucked up, and you know, started really feeling it and stuff. And me and a buddy of mine who played guitar lived up the street from me, Curtis Lee. We ended up, you know, just hanging together and trying to play together. And Jack McDuff was in town in Buffalo at the Pine Grill. And at that time, he had George Benson with him, Red Holloway, and a drummer named Joe Dukes. So we go up to the Pine Grill. I'm like 17, and I'm looking through the window, and McDuff is near the window. So I started tapping on the window, and he turns around and looks, and I said, "Hey, man." So he comes to the door, and I said, "Hey, man, I'm just starting to learn how to play organ. You know, you're one of my heroes. You know, can I get some questions from you or something?" So, hey, man, come on in. And we ended up going in his dressing room, you know, and it was so funny. He looks over at me, say, "Hey, man, how old are you?" I said, 17. And he said, 17. You know, like reminiscing back when he was 17, you know. But it was so weird, man. We became good friends from there. He used to let me sit on the organ bench with him when he was playing. I'm saying, like, this is when I'm first meeting George Benson, man. And I mean,
Oh, wow.
this was a hell of an experience for me to see, you know, one of the cats,
Yeah.
one of the masters, yeah, because he had that live album, you know, with a real good one and all that on it, man. But then everybody started coming to town, McGriff, you know, Groove Holmes. So they kind of like took me under their shoulder, and I mean under their wing, and
Yeah.
you know, from then I was able to meet Jimmy personally, and I don't know, he kind of like took a liking to me. He used to call me his grandson and stuff, and
You
his,
sound like you had a
yeah,
heck
godson.
of a time during that time.
Yeah, man. But I mean,
Oh,
when you're hanging like on my website and my social media pages, there's a picture of me and Jimmy. He was playing in Buffalo, old black and white picture taken with a Polaroid swinger. And I think I was about, yeah, I was about 17 or 18 then.
wow.
And then the last picture I got of him is me, him, and my wife. He came to Vegas, and we're up in his like hotel room. You know, this was like, man, a 40, 50-year span.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Man.
yeah.
So, when I say Jan's Supper Club, what does that mean to you?
Oh, wow. My dad, he was one of those entrepreneur cats who, once he put his mind to something, yeah, he did it, you know. And he decided he wanted to buy a club, a supper club. He ends up getting this club jam just on Main Street, downtown Main Street. And the place is huge. I mean, it had two stages, one that was real high up and then like one in the back. So, I mean, he went through the process getting his liquor license. You know, all the paperwork. Him and my mom, you know, got together and he buys this club, man. And the first week, he opens up with Cannonball and Nat Adderley. You know?
Oh, wow.
and at that time, George Duke was playing keyboards with him.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm blessed to have a lot of pictures of some of this stuff too.
And that's
Yeah,
the important
you
thing.
wanted jazz. You wanted jazz. He opens up with Cannonball and Nat Adderley. The second week, he had this blind singer who was out back then named Al Hibbler. A lot of people aren't hip too. And, you know, Al Hibbler was in that Nat Cole, Arthur Price, Billy Eckstein type thing. And then I think, let's see, the third week he had Sonny Stitt and Don Patterson, who was one of my heroes. And I let him use my B3, you know, because I had my B3 on one of the stages. And he had somebody else after that, but the jazz thing wasn't really, you know, kicking. This place was so big, you had to have a lot of people in there. So then he decides he's going to switch reels. He brings in Millie Jackson, you know.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so from there, yeah, from there he starts bringing in like R&B groups. He had the Ohio Players there. He had the Dynamic Superiors there. He had the group I ended up with, the Soft Tones there. He had Blue Magic there. And what was so funny, those three groups, they didn't have a keyboard player. So when they'd come to town, I'd sit in and play keyboards with them, you know.
I love that.
Yeah, I'd been on the road with Johnny, and you know, and took a break. Oh man, I loved it. You know, that's how I ended up really getting with the Soft Tones instead of Blue Magic. I like Marvin Brown's voice a lot better than
So
Ted.
you were with the Soft Tones, and you worked with the Miracles as well, did you not?
Well, yeah, that came further down the line because I moved to Baltimore like early '70s to play with the Soft Tones, and then you know we started doing the Chitlin Circuit tour, but it was like the first time I had ever played with a group, a singing group. You know, and they had three horns at that time, and the cats could sing though. You know, that was the thing, and they were big in Japan. You know, they didn't sell a whole lot of records other than, you know, East Coast. But first time we went to Japan, man, it was like, you know, big crowd of Japanese people with flowers and the cameras flashing.
Oh man.
Yeah, they were really big over there. And we were doing concerts. We'd do one show a night. And we'd go from, you know, Tokyo was a base. But we go to, you know, on up Osaka, you know, Kyoto. We go all the way up to Sapporo, which is like the northern part,
Yes.
and come back down. But I think the first time we went, the band that was, it was an all-girl band named Love Machine. They were opening for us. It was like 5 girls. They had been really big in Europe. They used to open like for Tom Jones and that type of thing. And so they were opening for us. And we'd be over there like 2-3 months. they treated you great, took care of you, you know, real nice. Then the second time I went with them, it was a group called Something Special, which was a Lockers group, actually. They had a guy like Scooby-Doo was his name, he was in it. And Patricia Davis, who used to dance on Soul Train. Remember the Oriental-looking sister?
Yes. Yes.
Pat
Yes,
Davis,
yes.
she was in the group.
Long hair girl.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
we were over there, yeah, had a great time. And then the funny part is the third time that I went, I had met Rick. What happened was I had moved back to Buffalo, summer of '77,
Okay.
and well, no, yeah, we were in Japan with the Miracles, right? That's what had happened. We were opening for the Miracles. Love Machine was out there, and they didn't have a keyboard player.
Uh-huh.
So we only had to do like maybe 20 minutes before they came out. So, my adrenaline is flowing. And so I play with them,
Yes.
And so, right, me and Billy Griffin got, had a lot of fun. And that was when Pete Moore was still with them. And Bobby was still with them. And, oh man, I can't think of the other guy. But anyway, yeah. So when the tour ended, that's when I went back to Buffalo because Billy was talking maybe, trying to see if they could hire me. And something fell through, probably the dough as usual. But that's when I went back to Buffalo.
Music is that way anyhow.
Yeah, it was like Love Machine, yeah. But a young lady, Vanessa Brooks, she introduced my brother and then me to Rick James,
Okay.
Because he
Now,
had come
make sure
back.
you say that right, because I got all these Funketeers watching this. So this is where you met Rick James.
Yeah,
Correct.
what had happened was, by the time I got to Buffalo, my brother had already met him, and he was explaining he was looking for, some cats to help record his tunes,
Uh-huh.
And he had been in Toronto, because he had been a draft dodger. And then when President Jimmy Carter granted draft dodgers amnesty, he was able to come back to Buffalo. So he had a, record out, Get Up and Dance. I mean, yeah, when we met, I mean, it was great. It turned, me and him hung like every day and night. He doing music, just, listening to shit when we go out, mostly to this club, the V Room, Vermilion Room, that was in Buffalo, yeah. And we, putting ideas together and
Yes.
stuff, And then from that, I mean, Mary Jane came out of that. And see, there's a
So
thing when two people collaborate on a song, It's like a lot of guys will have a song they've written, they know most of the chord changes, or, Rick wasn't that proficient in chord changes, so, but if he played like a major and it could be enhanced with a major 7 or something, he wasn't really aware of that, He's one of them cats sit there at the piano and, come up with some chords that match what he was doing vocally. But he said, man, I got a song called Mary Jane about weed. So he plays me the first 2 notes, the boom, boom. That was all. That was all he had. Okay, music. That was all he had. So that's when I came up with the B minor to the A7th or A13th, whichever you want to play. And then I did the verse. See, like musicians, when you kind of know what the hell you're doing, you get into those formulas, where certain chords go certain places, And to me, the A was the 5th of the key that I wanted to go to, which was E minor. That's how the verse ends up going to E minor to A7. So I put that together, and then I did a bridge. But the thing I never told anybody for like 30 years was that Low Down by Bob Skaggs was kind of like my inspiration for Mary Jane.
Wow.
If you take,
Man.
yeah, if you take Low Down and slow it down, you can sing the verses to Mary Jane. But then I did a completely different bridge, and I had the flutes playing a different line than his string line. He had the I came in with So that's basically what happened, And the Come Get It album, see, there's a thing in If somebody says, "Hey man, I want you to collaborate on a tune with me," that's collaboration. Now, if
Yes.
you have some songs and they need enhancing, "Hey man, why don't you play this chord here?" That doesn't necessarily get you into co-writing something with a person,
Yes.
because that happens a lot, all the time. A
Yes.
cat might suggest to, the guy, "Hey man, why don't you play this chord here?" So all he's doing is, enhancing and helping. But Mary Jane was totally different because I mean, on you and I, there was a lot of stuff I enhanced. Actually, on the whole album, Come Get It album, because there's actually two different bands on that
Oh
album,
wow.
you know, which he called the Stone City Band. But on the first half of the album, like I said, you and I, Sexy Lady, whatever, all the songs on the first side was one band, which was the band me and my brother had, Splendor. So that was me, my brother Bobby, Sasha Rose was the female singer, and the two brothers, Richard Shaw and Lorenzo Shaw. Richard Shaw played bass. His
Okay.
brother Lorenzo played drums, and then we had a guitar player, Fast Freddie Rapello. So we were the
Oh wow.
ones, and the Brecker brothers played the horns
Okay.
on you and I. And, well, in fact, on the whole first side of the album. Okay, so we recorded a bunch of songs, man. This little studio, Cross-Eyed Bear, 16-track studio right outside of Buffalo, that was co-owned by Jay Beckenstein, who was the leader of Spiral Gyra. So,
Oh man.
yeah. So that's
Man.
Buffalo peoples. So,
I didn't know Spyro Gyra was from Buffalo.
huh?
I didn't know Spyro Gyra was from Buffalo.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
One of my first I guess you could say helping hands in Vegas played with Spyro Gyra. I'm sure you know Bonnie B.
Oh, Bonnie Beach. Me and Bonnie B
Bonnie
go back. Bonnie B
Bonnie gave
played
me
with
my
me.
my hand up in Vegas. If it wasn't for Bonnie, I wouldn't have made it through Vegas in
With
that
us
first
up
year.
at Hamilton.
What's that?
The actor George Hamilton?
Oh, okay, yes.
And man, they used to call him, yeah. He had a martini cigar bar in New York, New York.
Oh, okay.
So 3 months after New York opened, we ended up doing the house gig up here with a singer, Darkest. Darkest,
Yes, Darky Skates.
yeah. Darkest
Yeah.
Steve, she's Darkest Gates now. So it was me, Bonnie B, Ronnie Rathers on guitar, and Darkest. I mean, we had Bonnie. We went through a lot of drummers, but once Bonnie
Bonnie's
got,
the best one you can find,
yeah,
though.
yeah, without a doubt, we still talk to each other on
Yeah.
Facebook,
Okay.
But yeah, he's one of the baddest drummers, man. He had
Yes,
cats coming
indeed.
up to see him, like Sonny Emery from Earth, Wind and Fire, and
Yes.
the drummer from Santana and Gino Vanelli. Name slips my mind right now, but I'll think of it. Yeah, yeah. They come and watch Bonnie, you know. But
Bonnie
yeah,
helped me through my first year in Vegas.
okay, okay,
Yes. I
yeah.
appreciate that, man. Big time.
Yeah. Back to Mary Jane, just to mention
Uh-huh.
it, I'm trying to find an entertainment lawyer, I ain't gonna lie, because the song is 42 years old. My
Uh-huh.
name did not end up on the copyright when
Yeah.
the album came out. And I was like with Rick, I said, "Hey man, what's up?" And he explained, Barry Gordy got all the publishing with Stone Diamond. He didn't want to, make no waves. I
Yeah.
kicked it down under the table. I said, "Yeah, no problem, cool." But only thing that got kicked down under the table was me.
That was you.
Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
it was the second single, and it came out and it went gold. And
Wow.
he sent a message back to Oscar Austin. If I had anything to say to him about Mary Jane, say it to his attorney. So that's
Man.
like 1978. So we
And
were
that
on
album
the
that
house.
album sold over 2 million.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got gold and stuff hanging over there from it. But
Phew.
yeah. So for a while we were on the outs. That's when we did Splendor, and Philip
Okay.
Bailey produced it. But what happened
Yes.
after we did you and I and stuff? Rick flew out to L.A. deal shopping, and somebody ended up taking him up to Iris Gordy, who was Barry Gordy's niece, and she liked the stuff. Make a long story short, they signed him. So he comes back to Buffalo. He got like a check for 100 grand, but he doesn't take care of the rest of the guys. You know, it's always that line, "Hey man, help me with my stuff," and then you
Yeah.
know, if it kicks off, I kick you down. Yeah, the kick you down shit again. But yeah, and so Richard Lorenzo, they said later for you. My brother said later for you, and Sasha said later. So since me and Rick, you know, we hung all the time, smoking weed, doing whatever, and I said, well, shit, I ain't got no beef with him. I'm a, you know, keep doing what I do, you know.
There you
So
go.
that's when Mary Jane came about, because we had to write some more stuff for the second half of the album, which actually only turned out to be 3 songs: Mary Jane, Be My Lady, and Hollywood. So
Okay.
Freddie brings in his brother, Andy Rapello. He's on bass, and we get a drummer, Mike Caputi. So the rhythm section, except for me, I'm the only black guy in the rhythm section on Mary Jane and Hollywood and Be My Lady. Yeah, you know, that's Andy. Andy unfortunately died, you know, bass player.
Yeah.
And even Richard passed away. Lorenzo's out here in Vegas with me, you know. And
Okay.
so yeah, that's how basically Come Get It came about. You know, two
Wow.
different bands. And what happened? Some of the songs we recorded ended up on Busting Out. You know, they had
Oh.
some songs left over. So I mean, you got like two bands, two different bands on Busting Out and shit. You know, and
So there was never really truly a Stone City band.
well, not until he got ready to go on tour. That's when he
Gotcha.
actually, you know, got Levi. Because Levi Ruffin, him and I went to high school together. But
Oh.
he grew up with Rick. I didn't know Rick growing up. But Levi and I, we went way back before the Rick hoopla and shit. You know, so he was doing, even though Levi played keys, you know, I was much better at attacking stuff because of the jazz situation, you know.
Gotcha.
So Levi did mostly background vocals with us on the Come Get It album. Then Columbia signs my brother and Splendor, and Philip Bailey produces, you know, our first album over there. Rick's hot as a firecracker, you know, that's when he does his first tour. So he gets Erskine Williams on keys and a brother Ramadan, you know. So he had two keyboard playing. Then Levi was there doing, you know, the parts. Oscar Austin, Lannis Hughes on drums, and then eventually Nate on percussion. Because actually Tom McDermott is the third guitar player, you know. Fast Freddie, who did the albums, he didn't, you know, didn't go on the road, didn't want to, I don't know, whatever. Then the second guy who did some of the TV shows, Alan Sims, you know, the Midnight
Okay.
Specials and all that,
Yes.
Alan. So
Yes.
Tom, you know, was the third guitar player, you know, came in. But yeah, you know, they did, you know, Bowley went. Well, a lot of people haven't gone before. I have to give it to him, you know. But the only thing, like in his 2 books that Rick wrote, see, I'm like one of those persons. If you do something, give that person the credit for doing it.
Yes.
You know,
Definitely.
I
Definitely.
believe in that very, very highly. And you know, in Rick's books, it's a shame he doesn't mention me. He doesn't mention Freddie Rapello or Andy Rapello or
Oh
Mike
wow.
Caputi, you know. And he gives everybody the impression he played all the instruments, you know, synthesizer, bass. Rick played nothing but congas on that first album. Come Get It, okay?
Well,
You
how did
know.
they? Was he a good producer at all?
Was he what?
Was he a good producer?
Art Stewart ended up getting a producer. I don't know how you do that shit either. You come in after the album's done, and all of a sudden you're the producer of it. I'm like, damn, yeah, that's new to me. You know, yeah. He wasn't even around when we
Oh
when we
man.
did the album. You know, so that's another show. You
Well, so in 2013, you pick up a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh yeah, 15.
Barry,
When was that? 2015. Yeah,
2013.
13.
Barry and Sherry Gordy gave you a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Is that 13? Wait a
That's what I
minute.
found in my history.
Oh
Might have
right,
been
right,
15.
right, right. You know what? I'm
I do a
confused.
little bit of homework.
I'm confusing that award with the Hall of Fame one from Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey,
That's what I was going to say next. In
yeah,
2015, you got Buffalo Music Hall of Fame award too.
yeah. I went a little ahead there. Yeah, that was 13. That was great. Yeah.
That's when I
I had no
actually met you.
idea. Hmm.
I actually met you in 2013,
Okay.
and it was kind of funny. They were having everybody was just kind of jamming. It was a jam session. I think it was at the Orleans. I'm not sure.
Okay. Right.
And
Yeah, that was the thing I used to do before the Sherry take the stage.
yeah,
Yep,
it
at
was
the
before
Orleans,
Sherry
yeah,
Gordy.
with Anthony. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
Cause
got on.
it's the
I got
same
on
thing.
stage.
It's like an open mic.
Yes,
You
that's
know.
exactly what it was.
I remember you sent me the picture you were singing.
Yes, I got on stage to
Dang.
sing, and you started playing,
What did you
and I
sing?
stopped. What did I sing? I can't even remember what I was singing. I
Okay.
cannot remember what I was singing. But I had to stop
Yeah.
because you started going off on your keys, and I'm like, who in the heck is
Oh,
that?
probably high that night or something, man.
Well, I know you got
couple of
down. I tell
beers,
you that much.
yeah, couple of
I
brewskis.
just let you do your thing. I just stood there for a
Oh,
minute
okay.
because
Yeah, man,
Sheila Vance was on guitar as well.
that's
So
man. Yeah, I did
I was
that for a
going there.
while, man. I did a lot of those open mic things
Uh-huh.
around town here. Because Anthony, she started it, I think, at, where was it at? The Hilton first.
Yes, yes.
And then it went somewhere else. And yeah, because I ended up doing a boat cruise. I ended up leaving for like, what, 5 months or something?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And yeah, it's 'cause I've been out here, man, shit, since what, 29 years? I don't know, it came out in
Wow.
'91, you know.
Wow.
So
I'm
yeah,
surprised it took us that long to meet each other because I got out there in '98
okay,
and I
yeah.
knew almost everybody out there.
'Cause, I had been in LA 14, and
Okay.
after the Rodney King nonsense, that's
Yes.
when I left, yeah, and moved
Gotcha.
here.
Gotcha.
Been blessed,
Well,
still here.
that's all you can ask for, man. All you can ask for. Wake up in the morning, put your feet down on the ground.
Yeah.
That's it.
I said, people
So
say, hey, man, how you doing? I said, well, I woke up this morning. So,
there you go.
good thing.
Give us your email. I'm not your email. I'm sorry. Your website address.
Right.
So we can check you out.
Oh, BillyNunn.com.
That's all I
Yeah.
needed to know.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, you go
seeing
over
that this,
there, man. I got tons of pictures.
yes, and that's why I wanted to put it on there so everybody would be able to check you out, man.
Yeah. BillyNunn.com.
Now, seeing this is a '70s funk website and YouTube channel, we
Mm.
have to ask you three '70s questions at the end of the interview. So
Okay.
here are your three '70s questions. If you were to walk into a house party, it was a '70s song, of course. What '70s song would a DJ play to say Billy Nunn is in the house?
You really don't know? No, it would be Mary Jane. Yeah.
Of course it would.
You can still do it now. Yeah.
I had to make it easy for you.
Yeah. You'll hear it now. Yeah, man. That was
So
thing, man.
You must pick one of the three: Christy Love, Foxy Brown, or Jane Kennedy.
Wow. Damn. Uh, I don't know, man. I think I probably, knowing me, I probably would have went with Pam Grier. Yeah, Foxy Brown.
There you go. There you go.
Probably, yeah. Even though Jane, she was, she
I
was,
was I was a Christy Love fan.
uh,
I was a serious Christy Love fan.
yeah.
So who do you think was the best Soul Train act? That's your third question.
That's a hard one, you know why? Because everybody pantomimed on it.
Yes.
They wasn't doing nothing live, so
No.
yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. Probably James, because I think James. I have to look and pull up some old stuff because I don't know. I can't really see James pantomiming, but that was
That was their forte.
thing then, yeah.
I
So
mean, nobody would mess up.
something to look up. But everybody else, I mean, even my brother went on and did groupie. She's just a groupie. But yeah, they were all pantomiming. So I don't know. It was great to see them though. It was great to see Shaka Khan and Rufus, and great to see Teddy Pendergrass, and I be telling everybody, man, we who are still alive now and grew up in that era, man, we were so blessed because there will never in the history of man be another era like that. 70s, never. We had so many talented people, bands, singers that passed on. I mean, these youngsters, they ain't got a clue. People like Ronnie Dyson and even David Peterson later. I mean, singers, man, and all the bands kicked ass,
Oh, all the bands.
This is what, 14?
All of them,
Yeah,
Earth, Wind,
14
and Fire.
bands that came out of Dayton. It was kicking ass, and none of them sound like the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, Dayton is the home of the funk, But,
Yes, sir.
and it was a blessing just growing up with this stuff. I mean, the jazz, them cats went in. When we went in the studio back then, wasn't no cutting and pasting. You had to sit there and you had to. I remember, I think Miles did like 40 takes one time on a tune, man.
Wow.
That's a lot. Hey, man, everybody soloed their ass off. I don't know how long. Cool Train and Herbie. And he said, "Nah, man, let's do it again." I mean, that stuff was brutal. Now, you just take a little piece of something you like and paste it there,
Exactly. Using somebody else's music. You don't even try to make music of your own.
Yeah. Auto tuning on the vocals.
Yes.
Yes. Y'all need to listen to Phil Perry and and hear some cats that are singing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just put some organ.
The idea behind all of this is eventually, once this COVID thing is over, I want to begin to have live bands nationwide and do like weekend parties. So I hope to have you come play with us sometime, man. I really do, sir.
Yeah. Like I kind of protect myself. I don't really go out hardly at all.
That's understandable.
Unless I'm going, get some water or some light.
Well, we're gonna wait until everything's over because we want to make sure everybody's okay when we do that.
Yeah, I'd love to do. Haven't done any, real gigging in a while. I kind of stopped going to the jam sessions. Everybody's playing the same thing, man.
Yes.
I used to get in trouble because I'd tell guys, man, look. Every time you go see a band and they play Earth, Wind, and Fire, all they play is Let's Groove Tonight or September. I say, man, them brothers got 50 years of music.
Exactly.
What's y'all scared to learn something else? Or like when they go and they do Stevie. Superstition. Come on, man.
Superstitious all day long.
Stevie
All
got
day
more
long.
songs than La, man, and y'all doing, But that's just me, man. My little
Hey, I
personal.
understand. I like B-sides. I like the B-side track all day long.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, that brother's, man. When you're a musician and you sit
Look like I
there,
may have lost you, sir. Okay, there you are. I got
oh,
you
okay,
back.
yeah. When you're a musician and you listen to all the songs Stevie done wrote, and he's got more
I
stuff
know.
in the can than they got at Fort Knox. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes, indeed.
Because nothing
Yes,
sounds
indeed.
like the same. Some cats get into a formula, and you can kind of tell. But Stevie, man,
Yes.
when they talk geniuses, then now you're talking genius. You
Yes,
know,
very much
yeah, 'cause
so.
they throw that word around a little bit too much.
Too
Yeah.
much.
To
Heck,
different people.
they tried to call Lil Wayne a genius.
Yeah. Hey, but I'm
So
still,
we
yeah.
wouldn't go there.
Before I go, I
Yes,
still
sir.
need an attorney, entertainment attorney, to get in touch with me to help me with this. I can explain to him what BMI has told me, but you can reach me, at billynunn.com or 702-981-7243.
You know everybody gonna be calling you now, Billy.
They got the Hey, I don't mind, yeah. But if a lawyer, entertainment lawyer, whether he's just starting out, want to take it pro bono, or if he sees the 40 years of royalties that you know I got kind of cheated out of. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't made any. I mean, I haven't made any money off of Mary Jane in 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
That's
trying to
not
get
right.
burial money.
That's not right. I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get burial money just in case.
I hear you.
Right.
Well, Billy, I'd like to take the time and thank you very, very much for spending some time with us, sir.
Hey, man,
Really, really appreciate it.
I
And
appreciate
we
it,
definitely
man.
gonna keep you in mind when it's time to party, man.
Hey, man,
So,
I got my TV show getting ready to come out, None at One, and
uh-huh.
working on a video book.
And
And
we're gonna work together on some of that stuff together too.
yeah, yeah.
I'll give you a shout out. We'll talk
Hey,
about
man,
that.
I appreciate it. Hit
Yes,
me up
sir.
anytime.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you,
Once
man.
again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for checking
Thank
in with
you.
us. Mr. Billy Nunn hanging out
Thank
in
y'all.
the immortal words of Don Cornelius.
Bless you.
Peace, love, and soul.